Today I'm going to be going through my biggest cruise casino mistakes I made, so you don't have to. Cruise ship casinos can be a lot of fun. The lights, the slot machines, the excitement. It's easy to get caught up in it all. But after spending time in cruise casinos myself, I realized something pretty quickly. They work a little differently than the casinos most people are used to. Some of the mistakes I made were small and just a little frustrating. But a few of them ended up costing me real money. And they were things I wish someone had warned me about before I ever sat down at a slot machine. In this video, I'm going to go through the biggest cruise casino mistakes I made so you don't have to. These are things many cruise passengers learn the hard way once they're already on board. Some of them involve how cruise casinos are set up, some involve rules that passengers don't always realize, and a couple of them are traps that catch a lot of people by surprise. If you enjoy trying your luck in cruise ship casinos, or you're thinking about it on your next cruise, knowing these mistakes ahead of time could save you a lot of money. Let's start with one that surprised me right away. Number 1. Thinking cruise casinos are like Vegas. One of the first mistakes I made was assuming a cruise ship casino would work exactly like a normal land casino. When you walk in, everything looks the same. Bright slot machines, blackjack tables, roulette wheels, people cheering when they win. It feels just like any casino you'd find in Las Vegas or Atlantic City. So naturally, I assumed the odds and payouts would be the same too. But cruise casinos can actually be quite different. Because they operate out in international waters, cruise lines have a lot more flexibility when it comes to the rules and payouts on certain games. For example, many blackjack tables on cruise ships pay 6-5 instead of the traditional 3-2, which increases the house advantage quite a bit. Some slot machines can also have lower payout percentages compared to major land casinos. None of this is obvious when you first sit down to play. Everything looks normal. But once I started paying closer attention, I realized the casino wasn't always quite as generous as I had expected, and that was definitely something I wish I had known before I started gambling on my first cruise. Number 2. Gambling on the first night. Another mistake I made was jumping straight into the casino on the very first night of the cruise. The first night is exciting. Everyone has just boarded the ship, the casino is buzzing with energy, and it feels like the perfect time to sit down and try your luck. But that excitement can actually work against you. Between the sail-away parties, welcome drinks, and the general buzz of the first evening, it's easy to get caught up in the moment and start gambling more than you planned. I remember sitting down at a slot machine thinking I'd just play for a little while. But before I knew it, quite a bit of money had disappeared. Looking back, the first night probably isn't the best time to gamble at all. You're still settling in, figuring out the ship, and maybe even a little tired from travel day. That combination can make it much easier to make decisions you wouldn't normally make. These days, if I visit the casino on the first night, I usually just walk through and take a look around instead of sitting down to play. Number 3. Not setting a daily gambling budget. One mistake that can sneak up on a lot of cruise passengers is not setting a clear gambling budget before you even walk into the casino. On a cruise ship, it's surprisingly easy to lose track of how much you're spending. Unlike a land casino where you eventually go home for the night, the casino on a cruise ship is just a few steps away from your cabin. It's open late, it's convenient, and there's always something happening. You might tell yourself you're only going to play for a little while, but then a few more spins turn into a few more hands of blackjack, and before you realize it, the amount you plan to spend for the entire cruise might disappear in one evening. That's why setting a daily limit can make a big difference. Decide ahead of time how much you're comfortable losing each day, and once that amount is gone, walk away. It sounds simple, but it's something many people, including me on my first cruise, don't always do. And cruise casinos are very good at making sure you stay just a little bit longer than you planned. Number 4. Not joining the casino players club. This is one mistake that surprised me because it's so easy to avoid. Most cruise ship casinos have a players club or casino rewards program, and it's completely free to join. But on my first cruise, I didn't even bother signing up. I just sat down and started playing. What I didn't realize at the time is that cruise casinos track your play through those casino cards. Every spin, every hand of blackjack, every bet, it all counts toward points. Those points can lead to things like free drinks, onboard credit, discounted cruises, and sometimes even completely free cruises in the future. But if you're gambling without the card in the machine or on the table, none of that activity is being tracked. which basically means you're giving the casino your money without earning any of the rewards that usually come with it. Now, whenever I step into a cruise casino, one of the first things I do is make sure I'm signed up and using the player's card. Because if you're going to gamble anyway, you might as well make sure it's working in your favor as much as possible. Number 5. Playing the worst slot machines. Another mistake I made early on was assuming all slot machines were pretty much the same. When you walk into a cruise ship casino, there are rows and rows of colorful machines. Some have huge screens, flashing lights, and massive jackpots displayed across the top. Those machines tend to attract the most attention, and that's exactly where I went first. But many experienced players will tell you that not all slot machines are created equal. Some machines are designed with higher volatility, which means they can go long stretches without paying anything at all. They look exciting because of the big jackpots, but they can also drain your money very quickly. Other machines tend to have smaller jackpots but pay out more regularly. The problem is, when you're walking around a cruise casino for the first time, it's very easy to get drawn toward the machines that look the most exciting. That's what happened to me. And it didn't take very long before I realized those flashy machines can sometimes be the ones that empty your wallet the fastest. Number 6. Forgetting drinks may not be free. Another mistake I made was assuming drinks in the casino would automatically be free. In places like Las Vegas, it's pretty common for casinos to offer complimentary drinks while you're gambling. So when I walked into a cruise ship casino, I figured it would work the same way. But cruise casinos don't always follow the same system. On some cruise lines, drinks in the casino are only complimentary if you're playing at a certain level or if you've earned a specific casino status. On others, you might still be charged unless you have a drink package. At first, it's easy to think the drinks are just part of the casino experience. A server might come around and offer something, and you assume it's included. But depending on the cruise line, those drinks can quietly end up on your onboard account. It's not necessarily a huge charge, but it can definitely add up if you're spending a lot of time in the casino. So now, whenever I'm in a cruise casino, I make sure I understand exactly how the drink situation works before I start ordering. Number 7. Playing blackjack with bad rules. Another mistake I made was sitting down at a blackjack table without really paying attention to the rules. Blackjack is one of those games that many people think they already understand. The basic idea is simple: get as close to 21 as possible without going over. So when I saw a blackjack table open in the cruise casino, I just sat down and started playing. What I didn't realize at the time is that not all blackjack tables follow the same rules. For example, some cruise ship tables pay 6 to 5 for blackjack instead of the traditional 3 to 2. That small change might not sound like much, but it actually increases the house edge quite a bit. There can also be other rule differences, like the dealer hitting on a soft 17 or higher minimum bets than you might expect. The tricky part is that most players don't notice these things at first. The table looks just like any other blackjack table. But once you start looking closely at the payout signs and the table rules, you realize the odds might not be quite as favorable as they appear. And that's something I definitely wish I had checked before sitting down to play. Number 8. Gambling on port days when the casino is closed. This is something that caught me off guard the first time it happened. On my first cruise, I figured the casino would be open pretty much all the time. After all, it's one of the main attractions on the ship. But cruise ship casinos actually have to follow gambling laws depending on where the ship is located. Because of that, the casino usually closes when the ship is in port. So, if the ship docks somewhere in the morning and stays there for most of the day, the casino often won't open again until the ship sails back out into international waters. The first time I experienced this, I had planned to spend some time in the casino during the afternoon while we were in port. But when I walked down there, everything was shut. Lights off, machines quiet, tables closed. It's not a huge problem once you know about it, but it's definitely something that surprises a lot of first-time cruise passengers. If you're hoping to spend time in the casino during the day, it's always worth checking the ship's daily schedule so you know exactly when it will actually be open. Number 9. Not understanding how casino comps actually work. Another mistake I made was completely misunderstanding how casino rewards work on a cruise ship. At first, I assumed the system was pretty simple. I figured if I lost a certain amount of money in the casino, the cruise line would reward me with something in return. But that's not really how it works. Cruise casinos usually base their rewards, often called comps, on something called your theoretical loss. In simple terms, they estimate how much the casino expects to earn from your play over time. That calculation takes into account things like how long you play, your average bet, and the type of games you're playing. So it's not just about how much money you win or lose during a single session. Two people might both lose the same amount of money, but if one person played longer or placed higher bets, they may earn more casino points and rewards. Once I understood that, it made a lot more sense why some players seem to be getting free drinks, onboard credit, or even discounted cruises. They weren't necessarily losing more money, they were just playing in a way that earned more points in the casino system. Number 10. Chasing losses. This is probably one of the most common mistakes people make in any casino, and cruise ships are no exception. It usually starts the same way. You lose a little bit of money and think, that's okay, I'll just win it back. So you keep playing. Maybe you raise your bets a little. Maybe you stay at the machine longer than you planned. Before you know it, you're trying harder and harder to recover what you already lost. The problem is, the casino is designed to make that very difficult. On a cruise ship, it can be even easier to fall into this trap because the casino is always right there. You can walk past it several times a day, and every time you do, it's tempting to sit down and try again. I've definitely had moments where I told myself I'd just play a little longer to win back what I lost. But most of the time, that just meant losing a bit more. Looking back, I realized the smarter move is to accept the loss, step away, and treat it as part of the entertainment rather than something you have to recover. Number 11. The last night casino trap. The final mistake I made, and one that a lot of cruise passengers fall into, is spending too much time in the casino on the very last night of the cruise. The last night always has a certain energy on a cruise ship. People know the trip is coming to an end, and many passengers start thinking about their final chance to gamble before everyone has to disembark the next morning. Because of that, the casino can get incredibly busy. You'll often see people sitting down thinking the same thing. Maybe I'll just try one more time before the cruise ends. But that mindset can be dangerous. Some passengers are trying to win back money they lost earlier in the trip. Others just want one last lucky moment before they go home. The result is that the casino ends up packed with people chasing that final win. Looking back, I realize the last night is often when people gamble more emotionally than at any other point during the cruise. And that's exactly the kind of situation casinos tend to benefit from the most. So, if there's one thing I learned from my cruise casino experiences, it's that the last night might actually be the best night to simply enjoy the ship and stay out of the casino.